As part of a workforce reduction it previously disclosed, Amazon's chief executive Andy Jassy said in a public staff note yesterday that the company's layoffs will now stretch to more than 18,000 roles. This means Amazon's job cuts will be 70% more than previously announced. The layoff decisions will be communicated to the staff starting January 18th, and it is likely to largely impact the company's e-commerce and human resources organizations. The cuts amount to 6% of Amazon's roughly 300,000-person corporate workforce and represent a swift turn for a retailer that recently doubled its base pay ceiling to compete more aggressively for talent. CEO Jassy said in the note that annual planning has been more difficult given the uncertain economy and that company has hired rapidly over the last several years. Amazon has more than 1.5 million workers, including warehouse staff, making it America's second largest private employer after Walmart. It has braced for likely slower growth as soaring inflation encouraged businesses and consumers to cut back spending, and its share price has halved in the past year. Amazon had earlier announced that around 10,000 employees will be laid off. For more on this, joining us live from London is Adrian Maass, who is a tech journalist and a broadcaster. Welcome to WION, Adrian.
Hi. Good to be here, Shivan.
Adrian, I need to understand from you, what is your opinion on this? Did Amazon not see this coming when they were hiring? 18,000 job cuts at the moment?
It's kind of surprising. The pandemic was hard to predict exactly when it ended, but lots of sectors were caught. People didn't know quite how long it would last, and I think there was a misplaced assumption that a lot of the patterns during the height of the pandemic would continue. People would not return to the office, they would move out of towns to rural areas, and these things have, I think, not surprisingly, changed as soon as the situation has changed. Of course, nobody expected the war in Ukraine. Interest rates have been on the rise. Fuel costs have been on the rise. We're seeing increasing inflation, declines in the economy generally. There's been supply chain issues in China, largely due to pandemic-related lockdowns. And consumers are cutting back, as well as companies, very much non-essential spending. So Amazon have been heavily hit by the fact that, people can go out shopping again. Right. It makes a big difference to them.
Adrian, one would assume that, during the pandemic, as most people were in-house, now you're ordering in more. So e-commerce should not be really taking a hit. But if you see HR and e-commerce is where they've made the maximum cuts. It's a little hard to kind of put the two things together. What sort of repercussions are we expecting in terms of the company's functionality or services for end users with this kind of 18,000 job cut coming on?
Well, I don't think we'll see a massive difference, frankly. Amazon will continue to deliver things in terms of as a proportion of their entire workforce. I don't think it's enough to significantly affect how we see Amazon delivering services to us. I think there's certain divisions that have been in trouble, like their smart speaker, their Alexa business. Right. And that certainly may take a cut because that never really worked as a profit-making business in the first place. They were expecting people to order goods through these smart speakers, and they never did. Right. And they've been subsidizing those. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Maybe we'll see subscriptions. Maybe we'll just see less innovation there, and it'll quietly just carry on as is, without much of the way of upgrades that we're perhaps used to. But on the whole, these sort of companies are going to carry on delivering. But this is, these big things are affecting the whole of tech. There's a company called TrueUp who track layoffs, and their first week of December layoffs in the tech industry, they counted almost 220,000 people laid off just in the 1 week. So, the effects are vast, absolutely vast.
So in terms of the industry, you're saying the effects are widespread, but in terms of the end user consumption or the end user experience, shouldn't make too much of a difference even after these job cuts. So
No, I mean, end users are cutting back on non-essential spending. So we're seeing companies like Netflix. Obviously, people aren't staying in as much and they've got less money to spend.
Right.
So services like that, and maybe Netflix will be producing less content,
right,
and we'll see changes there. And people have bought a lot of PCs to work from home,
right,
and there's been a big decline in PC sales, partly because of supply chain issues, but largely because people had bought excessively large number of PCs as work patterns changed. Now, that is taking a hit, but in 3 years, when you have to upgrade to Windows 11 and an awful lot of machines that will by then be more than 6 years old
right,
won't run Windows 11 because you have to upgrade because you won't get security updates. So although the machine carries on working, it's not safe to use. That will fuel a big increase in hardware sales.
So we are looking at
there is a bright spot coming.
Right.
Yeah, and when people buy new PCs, they buy new software as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned Netflix, whose subscriber base has also gone down, and PCs, which people are buying, but there are supply chain constraints as well. So things are kind of grim on both sides for the companies as well as the end user. Thank you so much for all the updates, Adrian. I'll be back with you for more updates on another story. Stay with us.
Okay, speak soon.
Right.